विकास कहाँ है, इसकी गंधार कहाँ है, मत्थर खाएंगे देखिए हुजूर।
Good evening, everyone. If it's evening time where you are, this is Mark in New Jersey. Welcome to day 50 of the current 21-day course. Today, we're going to look at pure knowledge. So we can learn things from reading, discussing, and we can also learn things from our experiences. So what we found in Saj Yoga is the most valuable things are what we learn through our experiences. So we're going to start with a discussion about pure knowledge with Steve and me. And then we'll get to a foot soak at some time during that first part of the meeting. And then I can talk about the schedule. So as we all know, we're meeting Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, 8:45 p.m. New York time. And we also meet Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the same time, same station, for a collective foot soak. If people want to join other meetings on other nights or even other times of the day, they want to get more exposure to Saj Yoga than just what you get in these classes, then we suggest you go to freemeditation.us/meetings, and there are links to the other meetings as well as links to this meeting. So the big news for Thursday is that we're going to work on improving our sensitivity to what we feel in our hands. Quite a few people I've talked to say, yeah, I feel the cool, but I don't really feel much in my fingertips. I can't really distinguish. So we're going to do something a little bit different on Thursday. And so you bring a few supplies, and it's a technique to help increase sensitivity in your hands. So what you'll need is some salt and some olive oil and a little bowl to mix them in. You don't need a big bowl because you just need a little bit. And then it's going to be kind of messy, so you want some kind of a towel to wipe up afterwards. And you'll be using the combination of salt and olive oil on our hands, and it will improve our sensitivity. Also, if you want any of the materials that we mention in the course, they're of course on the website, freemeditation.com.au/March 2022. And as we're now using as one of our clearing techniques, mantras, there is a booklet, which we first uploaded on day 44, called From Mantra to Silence. So that's where you can see what you're feeling on your hands, figure out what you need to work on, and use any of the many techniques that we're showing you, including using mantras. So now let me introduce who's here with me tonight. We've got Steve in Florida, and we've got Igor in the area of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So hi, Steve.
Hi, Mark. So nice to be with you.
How are you doing today?
Good, good. Thank you.
Do you have sunshine? We have sunshine today.
Yeah, I'm in Florida, so we have sunshine most of the time. Very nice, yeah.
I'm in New Jersey, so we get just about everything. And when it's sunshine, it's, yeah, sunshine. All right. Hi, Igor.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Nice to see
So I
you
hear
all.
you're a musician tonight. What instrument are you going to be playing, and what are you going to play?
I'm gonna be playing Indian flute called bansuri. It's a bamboo flute, and I will be playing Indian classical meditation music. Particularly, it will be raga, Bageshri. This raga, particularly, it's an evening raga, and it's for Agnya chakra.
Okay.
So let us all try to experience meditating with the flute music.
Okay. My
That's
Agya could sure use it. So
everyone's.
looking
Me
forward to
too.
it.
Of course,
All
we all
right.
do.
So in addition to a meditation and a clearing of our chakras, we're going to have a talk of Shri Mataji, and then we're going to have music with Igor, and then we'll have little bit more sort of silent meditation after that. So looking forward to really enjoying this time together with you guys. So Steve, the topic tonight is pure knowledge. So what is pure knowledge, Steve?
Well, Mark, I don't think I can give a definitive answer because there are a lot of ways to look at it, but I was reflecting on this a little bit before we started. And there are two things that came to my mind. First of all is what it's not, because you sort of alluded to this in the beginning. When we think of the word knowledge, when we use the word knowledge, I think, we may think in terms of information. We may think in terms of, like we often talk about the pure knowledge or the pure divine knowledge. So what would that be? You might think that is the correct information about the divine, or the correct philosophy, or some kind of book learning or theory. But as you mentioned in the beginning, for us, knowledge is something innate. Like every other quality on every chakra, it is something that is built within us, and it has to be awakened. And then it's an awareness. It's an awareness of our spirit. It's an awareness of these vibrations, of this energy. And it's awareness that informs us about what's good for us and what's not good for us, what's going to help us grow and what's not. So, as you said, it's an experience. It's tuning in, it's awakening that quality of pure knowledge, feeling it and learning how to use it and know what it's telling you from inside, not book learning. So that's what I would say in a nutshell.
All right. So what Steve and I have planned, without too much planning, is to demonstrate the use of this direct pure knowledge, which is our experience. So what we do in Saj Yoga is we want to know reality. We want to know what is the truth. And we can open the newspaper, turn on our device and read stories, or we can just put our hands out. So Steve and I are just going to put our hands out and see what's happening at the level of vibrations, because that's what informs us of what is actually happening beyond any concept or opinion about what we think is happening.
Yeah, and we could invite, I think, everybody to join us and try this experiment together. So
Yes, everyone can just, rest their hands on their lap with their palms up.
And we can kind of tune into what we're feeling on our hands. A lot of information comes to us that way. So we might feel cool, flowing vibrations, and that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the pure knowledge flowing. But we might also feel some catches, some blockages, and we might identify some of those that we want to work on.
All right. So the first step when we want to work on the vibrations, I guess, is to make sure that we're in a state of meditation, that our attention is very pure and quiet. So we can begin by putting our attention on our Kundalini, locate it. And then we invite this mothering energy to please rise through our central channel, and we help our attention to do that by raising it with our hand motions. And if you hear the sound of a train, you know it's working. You give a bandhan 7 times. Okay, so Steve lives near some train tracks, so that's why I made the joke about you hear a train. No, you don't really hear a train when you get into meditation. And with a group this large, who've been practicing Saj Yoga now for several months, very often the strongest thing we're going to feel is what Steve is feeling, that cool feeling in the hands and the enjoyment of the state of meditation. And the Kundalini may also indicate that there's something we could spend a little time working on. So she may send a signal to a part of the body, to the fingertips. Maybe one hand feels a bit heavier than the other. And it's an indication of we could put a little extra attention on bringing a balance to some part of our subtle system.
So Mark, when you put your attention on the group, on all of us together, do you feel anything like that that we could work on?
So I put my attention on what I'm feeling in my hands, and I also ask a question here to the silence itself. And the question is, what should we work on? Well, the first thing I felt were these 2 fingers, Vishuddhi, and then coming up almost equally strong as Swadhisthana.
I also felt the index fingers strongest. So maybe should we all just for a moment work on the Vishuddhi? So I think you all know how to give a bandhan to a chakra. So you take your right hand, point the fingers in toward the chakra, and you make a circle around the chakra. So that would be, as you're going over the top of the circle, you're going toward your left. That's the direction you want to circle in. So we go around the chakra with our right hand.
So we're starting with Vishuddhi?
I'm doing the center of Vishuddhi, yeah. Is that all right?
Okay.
So just give a bandhan to the Vishuddhi. You can do it roughly 7 times or so. And then what happens is we offer to the earth whatever blockages we're helping to remove. And we can do that a couple of times. And we just keep our attention inside, keep our attention at the top of the head, and really feel inside. Can offer it to the earth again. One more time. We can offer it to the earth. And let's just open our hands again and see if we feel any changes.
And then what I'm doing is inside silently, I'm also saying a mantra to increase the divine energy, the cleansing energy within that chakra. So that's how we show that mantra booklet at the beginning of the class, because you can go there to see which one for which chakra. So in this case, I am saying the mantra to Shri Radha Krishna. So it would go, Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Radha Krishna Sakshat Shri Adishakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. And I even say the mantra while doing the hand motions. So if you're trying it at home and you notice that it cleared out with the hand motion, then it's cleared out. If it needs the extra punch of the mantra to awaken that power within the chakra, then you can add that mantra as extra cleansing power and see whether there's the change in the sensation, or you're just going to feel like, oh, it's open.
Feels to me like it improved, Mark. Do you feel a change?
Yeah, pressure is not as great. Also, it moves. So people might have noticed that once you put attention on, you might notice how it's more on the left, more on the right, it's on both. And then as you start to clear it, it may change, and it might then, okay, now put attention on the right aspect or put attention on the left aspect. So I felt it's now sharper on the right. So we can always just put a hand, a way to direct the attention to a chakra. We can always just ask our Mother Kundalini very simply, Mother Kundalini, please clear my right Vishuddhi. And she's the expression of complete purity within us. And she responds to our pure desire. We can also use an affirmation. So we can say, I want to have sweetness in how I express myself, whether it's in my facial expressions, my gestures, or the words I choose. I would like my expression to really come from my heart. What I usually find when I'm working with somebody else, when I put my attention to see what's happening with their chakras, is that they're much more sensitive than I am. That I'll say, how are you feeling? And they'll say, I feel much better. And it's like, that's good, because I couldn't quite detect whether that cleared it out or not.
So this is really a dimension of this pure knowledge that we can feel what's really going on inside. And we can feel, not only we can feel our connection, but we can feel the state of our system. And that knowledge comes from feeling this energy that is awakened in everybody here. It's such a beautiful experience. And the other thing I guess I would just quickly like to say about pure knowledge is that, you know, beyond the use of tools, beyond the use of techniques, pure knowledge is just knowing our spirit. And that's what meditation is all about. So, you know, I like to remind people that using these tools is something we do generally when we need them. And if we don't need them, if we're feeling connected and we're feeling deep and we're feeling like we're getting into that state, then we don't use them that much because we don't need them. They're really tools. And so if you're feeling great, if you're feeling connected, just enjoy it. That's all you need to do.
Anything you're feeling, Steve, that's your vibrations are informing you about something?
I still feel a little bit of Vishuddhi, not nearly as much as before. And a lot of cool, really a lot of cool. So it's just all of us being together, I think, is very powerful. How about you? Anything else that we should put attention on?
Now I'm feeling a center heart, which I've been feeling it almost every Satsanga meeting I've attended over the past 2+ years, and no wonder, because center heart is reflecting our sense of security. And we live in such uncertain times now. So the simplest technique for helping to strengthen our center heart is just to take the right hand and place it on the center of the chest. And the different elements help to clear the different chakras. So we can use the element of air to clear out this chakra. So we just put attention on our breathing. We take a deep breath, hold it in a little bit longer than we normally would, but not uncomfortably, and then release. And so you can do it according to your intuition. You do it a few times, you feel that it's clearing, you're done. Other times you may read up on the chakra and find out it has 12 subplexuses. So that you decide, all right, I'll do this exercise 12 times, one for each subplexus. So you really use your own inner wisdom. You really are your own guru. So we can do it a few more times. Inhale, hold the breath, release. And the collective nature of our awareness means that we don't really need to be too concerned of, am I clearing out the center heart of my daughter, my son, my spouse, my boss, or it's at me? That we simply feel what needs to be cleared out, and using our powers, our attention, we clear it out, and it benefits all the people that are ready to have that be cleared out. And if the thoughts come in, oh, I wonder what it is. I wonder what caused it. Just remind yourself that Saj Yoga is most effective when we are above all our thoughts. Just see if we remain quiet inside, allowing the Kundalini energy to do the work. I can feel the collective attention is much, much quieter. The power of the collective attention is it sustains each of our individual attentions. So I hardly put any effort now to be in meditation. Everybody is sustaining my attention at that state above all my thoughts. And there's one more technique, which we all know. We practice at every meeting, and it is a sublimely simple but very effective technique to clear stuff out. So now let's have our foot soak. So I tried to make my water a little warmer than usual because it'd be sitting for a little bit, so it wouldn't be totally cold when I finally put my feet in the water. So we've learned that earth and water are cleansing elements, and they're represented by the salt and the water. So we could put on a large photograph of Shri Mataji. Steve, maybe you can help us to clear the collective Agya chakra.
So let's, to do that, let's put our right hand on our forehead. And we can bend our heads a little bit forward, holding our head in our hand. Just give that nourishing energy to this chakra for a moment. Just allow the energy itself to work. Come in and clear and relax and open the chakra. And to help with that, as you all know, this chakra is about forgiveness. So let's say inside, addressing our own Kundalini, let's say, Mother, I forgive everyone. I forgive everyone and everything. I forgive myself. Just with humility, with sincerity, let's extend that forgiveness to everyone. That forgiveness is very powerful. It can resolve many problems. I forgive everyone. Then let's just bring our hand back up to the top of the head, to the Sahasrara chakra, and feel that, settle our attention there. Just feel our hand there. And then we can slowly raise the hand up above the head. Just feel the flow of the Kundalini. Just be aware of that space above the head. We can leave our attention up there and bring the hand back down. So with our attention there, it's really staying in this state. Let's take a moment to wash our feet and finish the foot soak.
One of the cool things about Saj Yoga is we can remain in this state of complete inner quiet, and that the voice of Shri Mataji and the notes of music that come from that state of meditation continue to soothe us and strengthen us and evolve us. So we'll be enjoying the notes of a bansuri, but before that, let's enjoy the talk of Shri Mataji. She talks about knowledge. It's a talk given in Fort Plain, New York, in upstate New York, a few years ago. And we just keep our hands open and enjoy the love that flows when she talks to us.
Many people, as you know, are right-sided. Right-sided people are the people who are, as you know, full of ego, arrogance, and think no end of themselves. Very difficult to correct them. They also never see anything wrong with them. Whichever way they act, they think is all right. That is the karma yoga. But he has said that whatever karmas you do, whatever its fruits are, that you cannot say. He said it in a very uncertain manner. Because definitely, if he had said it with certainty, people would never have understood him. So he said, it's not possible that whatever karmas you are doing could be the karmas which will get you the blessings of the divine. Karmanyeva adhikaraste phaleshu ma kadachin. He has said it. So then, which karmas we should do? Or should we give up all the karmas? All the action we should give up? People were in two minds. This is the style of Sri Krishna, is to put people in two minds, so they use their discretion. And third one is the discretion, which he calls as the Jnana Marga. Is the central path by which you evolve. You evolve into a new state, into a new state of your mind, a new state of your being, by which you become absolutely above every nonsense. Also, you are endowed with power to fight whatever is bad, whatever is corrupting, whatever is killing this world. At that stage, you are equipped with a divine power that you can finish off anything that is negative around you. This is to be understood that that's a state. That's not just talking, that's not just believing that I am that. But it's a state. If you come up to that state where you are beyond all these things and you have all the knowledge, pure knowledge, the subtle knowledge of being, this is the Jnana Marga. Many people say that everybody cannot go to Jnana Marga. For that you have to have a special type of personality. But this is very misleading. Everyone can go into Jnana Marga. It is very, very innately built within us, this evolutionary attainment. It is within us. And all of us can have that. Only thing is, we have no confidence perhaps that we go on avoiding it and go to cheaper things like becoming devoted to something, doing some sort of a ritual, going to some sort of a holy place, all kinds of nonsense, which doesn't give you the evolutionary ascent by which you know the knowledge, the pure knowledge, the real knowledge. So far, whatever you have known, it was written in the book. Whatever your parents told you, or whatever you have explored outside. But the knowledge which is the purest, which is the real knowledge, which is the jnana, that you can only get through your ascent and establishing yourself properly in that state. If you go on denying it, you cannot get it. But everyone has a right to get it. You need not be educated. You need not be a very simple person. You need not be very rich or poor. Makes no difference as long as you are a human being and a humble human being, thinking that you have to achieve that state. You all can get that state which you know very well. And at that state, you become absolutely knowledgeable. Knowledgeable about yourself, knowledgeable about others, knowledgeable about everything that goes around. But this state must be maintained and try to go above that state where you have no more doubts left in you. This is what Sri Krishna taught. And this is what one has to achieve. But he, being a diplomat, he tried to tell you other stories. Try this, try that, this, that. But actually, what he has praised is Jnana Marga. Ours is a Jnana Marga. That is the knowledge, the path of knowledge, in which you have to know all the knowledge. Unless and until you have the whole knowledge, you are not yet a jnani, a person who knows. In this way, he has established that our evolutionary process has to come beyond all other human awareness. Other human awareness is of no value for a spiritual personality. Now, he knows something, say, how many miles it is from here, say, to New York, or what trains go there. All this knowledge is not needed. How much this cloth will cost, how much this carpet will cost, in what shop can you get. All this knowledge is just useless, is not the real knowledge. Such a person doesn't know this kind of knowledge. But what he knows is the knowledge about your being, knowledge about the whole universe, which is not how many stars there are or how many universes there are. No. It is the subtle inner personality of everything he knows. In that subtlety, he discovers so many new things which he may not even heard about. And thus, you reach a state of great knowledgeable personality. This is what we have to achieve. We are born as human beings and we know so many things already. People know so many things, but they don't know the actual. This knowledge doesn't come through your reading or through your intellectual pursuit or for your emotional movement, no. It is Shaswat, it is all the time there. It exists, it will exist. And it is just to be understood, just to be known to yourself what it is. It cannot change. It cannot be remolded. It is what it is. And that is what you know now. Nobody would doubt that. Because those who have got this state, they may doubt. They may call you crazy, they may think in it. But with the open eyes, whatever you say is the truth. In the same way, with the open heart and an open brain, when you know that that is the real truth, and that is what is to be known.
So let us stay in, continue in meditative state. Keep our eyes closed, palms open, and maintain your attention on the Sahasrara, on the crown of our head. If any thought comes, just say within your heart, I forgive, I forgive.
Or after this beautiful music, it's just it's taken us deeper into the silence. Let us just stay in meditation. Let's bring our right hand to the top of our head. We can bend our heads a little forward. Let's feel the presence of our hand on our head. Let our attention gradually settle there. We can just ask our Kundalini, Mother, please rise. Take me into meditation. Please deepen my connection. Let's slowly raise our hand up above the head, maybe 6 or 8 inches. Let's observe what we feel in that space above the head. You can even try going a little higher. And again, just see what we feel. Let's settle our attention there. Just be aware of that space above the head. Let's leave our attention up there and bring the hand down to the lap. And we can also try feeling with the left hand. So let's put the left hand on the head just for a moment. Settle our attention there. Just feel the presence of our hand. And then we can raise the hand. And again, just be aware of that space above the head. And observe what we feel there. Let's bring the hand back down, but let our attention just kind of float above the head for another minute or so. You don't need to do anything else. Just enjoy the silence for a minute or two. Let's receive this energy. Let's just absorb it and allow it to go deep into every part of our being. So in this beautiful state of silence, we can now raise our kundalini. Let's do it a little slowly, really trying to feel what we're doing. It's part of the meditation. We're raising this energy, strengthening our connection. And we can also do the bandha 7 times. When we're finished, we can open our eyes. And I believe it's back to Mark now for a little bit more.
I don't know about you, Steve, but I can really feel the difference from 8:45 this evening.
Yes.
When you were helping us to clear the agya, that's when I started to feel about 10 kilos lighter. It was amazing. I wasn't even aware of it.
It helps so much.
So here's a reminder for Thursday: salt, oil, and a little bowl and a towel. And if you would like to be in a breakout room, hablamos español. Some of us much better than others. Aprendíamos español. So if you'd like to be in a breakout room and you want a chance to ask a question that you think might not get a chance to be asked in the main room, then here's your chance. And otherwise, I'm going to exploit this opportunity to spend some time with my brother Steve. And curious to know, Steve, if you can remember a time when you realized what powers you have as somebody who practices Sahaja Yoga, like you noticed that something changed because of how I used my attention.
Yeah. There's one story that I always remember. It's been a few decades ago, but it's still kind of something that I learned from by remembering it. And that is in my job, which is a fairly stressful environment in the finance world, and there are a lot of you know, pretty aggressive people sometimes that one deals with in this field. And there was one person in particular who was a financial advisor, like a stockbroker, basically, who I had to deal with regularly. It was a very, very aggressive, abusive personality. And I used to really dread calling him, but sometimes I had to call him. I had to brace myself for the abuse I was going to receive every time. And one day I was sitting at my desk contemplating calling him and dreading it. And I thought, you know how to give a bandha. You know how to direct this energy in such a way that it can help a situation. So let's do that. And I don't know if everybody here knows how to do that, but you can put a person or a subject in the attention of the divine by writing it on your left hand with your right hand, the name of the person or the situation, and giving it a bandhan like this. So I thought, okay, I'll do that. So I wrote his name, I gave it a bandhan, and I held my hands out, and I felt this tremendous burning sensation in my left index finger. And I thought, he doesn't hate me, he hates himself. Because this is guilt. This is guilt and low self-esteem. And I thought, okay, and I actually felt this compassion for him in that moment. I thought, okay, now I understand where this is coming from. I felt compassion for him. And then I picked up the phone and dialed, and he answered the phone, and he was as sweet as a person could be. And so that whole process to me was just so instructive, because I got the information, and then I got the compassion for the person, and all of that worked on him in such a way that he was kind, he was a different person. And that was really sort of a wow, moment. Incredible experience.
Mm.
You must have something like along those lines that you could share.
I have a experience of being really solidly here. So solidly that I just put what I wanted here, and I knew that that's all I had to do. And I did not need to do any hand movement, because I could feel that I had placed it here, and now it was being looked after by this attention, this divine attention, this amazing attention, this power here. So it was 1997, and I had gone to India with a ticket that had been put together by somebody. And when I arrived in the airport to come home, the ticket agent said, "You realize you don't really have a return ticket. It's kind of useless. You've got this piece of paper, but it's not actually a ticket to get you home." So at that point, I just went into meditation, put my attention above all my thoughts, all my reactions. My attention was above the top of my head. And I heard the person say these amazing words, which showed me that some force was at work, where he said, "But let's see." And so I just stood there and I watched other passengers arrive and get into arguments, and watch this guy work with these other people. And quite some time passed. Might have been half an hour, might have been an hour, but I just remained there very steady, just in meditation. And then finally he called me back to his counter. And I guess he'd been kind of watching me and seeing that I was just silent, just watching, witnessing, as we say. And he said, "You realize that I cannot issue a ticket on a request basis, like, in other words, like, I want to go home, but he can't just give me a ticket because I want one." And so it's just, yes, I understand. So he took this useless piece of paper, went upstairs. I could see him talking with other managers. They were all looking at me. I'm just in meditation, completely silent, no reaction. Then they're looking at the piece of paper again. Then he comes back down again, and he has me come back to the counter. And he says, what you're asking for, we really can't do that. And then he starts to generate my luggage tags. And they start coming out of the machine. And then he books me on a different airline, not the airline that I was supposedly going to fly home on. He actually generates a ticket out of thin air for me to get home. And he says, have you paid your airport tax? No, I haven't. Well, give it to me the money. I'll pay it for you. And the other, I had two desires. One was to get home, and the other was to get on the first flight home that day, the first flight that morning. Those are the two things I had put here, and then decided I'm just going to watch and see how that works out with just the power of my desire, without any thinking or worrying. So then he says, okay, you better run. You've got to clear customs and, passport control, whatever. And so I run through the turnstile and run into all the different parts of the airplane. And it turns out I'm not on the first flight out. So I'm sitting on the plane, and there's a guy sitting next to me, and he says, you see that plane over there on the tarmac? That's the first flight. They have mechanical problems. So to me, that's what happens when you don't think. You just put your attention at this connection we've all felt, allow ourselves to be in that big ocean of silence, and just have a desire and then let go and see how it works out.
It's such an amazing story, and an amazing point too, because even in my story where I gave abandon, which is very effective, but it is good for people to also realize that it can be even subtler than that. It can just be the attention up here, and you're connected to everything, and everything can work out. It can be, like I said before, we have a lot of techniques, but if you can get up here, you really don't need to do much. Everything works out. And that's what we're really aiming for. So that's beautiful.
I was traveling with somebody, and they were on standby. And so there was some doubt whether they would actually get on the flight with me. So they practiced Sahaja Yoga. They knew about bandhans. And so they said, can you give me a bandhan? I want to get on the flight. I'm on standby. So at that point, I had learned that I could just put it here and then just watch silently. But because he had asked me to give it a bandhan, it was like, okay, I'll write it on my hand. I'm giving it a bandhan now. He was happy. I was giving it a bandhan. So then I'm sitting there, and 2 minutes later, he walks over to me and he says, I'm on the flight. But the moment that we let it be looked after, I started to develop a sense of confidence that I really, really have let go of it. I am absolutely not going to worry about it. It will work out. That this is the amazing connection we have to each other and to this power that has brought us together.
I was thinking, Mark, as you were talking, it would be interesting to hear some of the things that changed for you, when you got your Kundalini awakened and started meditating. What kinds of changes did you experience?
I guess the biggest change was the knowledge, the pure knowledge. It was the biggest change, because before I discovered Sahaja Yoga, I operated strictly on my rationality. I listened to radio programs, watched television programs, filled notebook after notebook with information, with knowledge. And I was especially curious to know, how do you get all right? How do you feel fine? Because I felt very unsettled, very uncertain, didn't know which end was up. This is me in my late teens, early 20s. And so I heard about something on the TV, and I'd make notes and I'd investigate it. How much does it cost? Oh, okay, I've got the money in my bank. I'll pay that money. I'll try that. And so I went through several things like that. And then went to India, spent time with Shri Mataji, saw her almost every day. She never talked to me personally, except once she saw me wearing a hat, and she said, don't wear a hat too much. It's kind of, tight and affects the circulation of your scalp. And that's the very simple, practical way she would talk to us. But she never addressed any of my, thinking about all these rational approaches to making myself all right. But then when I got back home, after having spent 2 months just in meditation, just in the silence, this is way before there were anything like devices. This is in the 80s. And then I realized that I understood things in a whole new way. And I understood that things that I was trying were very attractive to my intellect, but in a way that was actually pulling me into the past or the future. They weren't actually truth, but they were, appeals to my desperate need to be all right. And so then I realized that in some way, without really being conscious of it, that things were all right. And that I didn't need to spend any more money and attend any more workshops or read any more books, that if I simply meditated, I would be all right. And that thing that I was in my quest for, which is, am I okay? That I felt like, I guess I'm sort of on the way to becoming okay. And I don't need to be so, desperately grasping on everything that comes my way. And then I just understood that, okay, it can take time, it requires some patience, but that since I'd felt this amazing feeling of being comforted, that I could just enjoy that state and then just see how fast do I grow? Is it going to be fast or slow? But things are going to be okay and I'm going to be okay.
Very beautiful. So enjoyable to hear you talk about this. It's more meditation for me. It's just very deep.
And the other thing that you and I have, which is very rare, is we have our experiences being with Shri Mataji herself. So I'll share one experience and maybe you can share an experience. I never spent much time with Shri Mataji. I mean, I would see her every day and spend hours in her presence, but I was like part of the crowd. But there were those few moments when I was actually right next to Shri Mataji and maybe even talking to her or she talking to me. So one year she visited my hometown of Vancouver, and for whatever reason, they elected me to be the driver. So what a thrill to drive the rented luxury car to the airport, have Shri Mataji sit in the back seat and drive her back to wherever she was staying. So then I was probably about 30 something years old at the time. And later they sent word that Shri Mataji had asked, who was that young boy who drove me from the airport? And it was just her sending to me a very sweet message of, you're doing fine. And, she just saw my spirit. She saw my Kundalini. And she said something to kind of tickle me and make me just sort of feel good. So it's a very, very pleasant experience. Another time I was driving her and it was very awkward because I wasn't driving her actually. I was in the passenger seat directly in front of her. And it was very nervous because here she is, the greatest saint in history in the backseat of this car. And do I put on my seatbelt or is that an insult because of all this power she has, all these vibrations that she emits, that would it be kind of insulting her amazing quality of being such a great saint to think like I need to put on some kind of very earthly protection. So I'm really stymied. And so then she actually says out loud, because the car is going ding, ding, ding. She says, I guess you better put on your seatbelt so it doesn't make that ding sound. So she rescued me from my very uncomfortable state of, so then I could have put on my seatbelt and completely relax. And that was always her method with me, was just relax, relax. Everything is going to be fine. No worries.
Yes, beautiful. It's amazing to remember those times where we could be there. So,
did you ever drive Shri Mataji?
yeah, Yeah, once it was quite an embarrassing experience because I chose what I thought was a scenic route to show her some beautiful places. And we got into a terrible traffic jam, and it took 2.5 hours to get someplace that should have taken 30 minutes. And she had traveled, she had just gotten off a plane, so she was tired, and it wasn't what I hoped it would be. But she was so kind and so cheerful about it. It was very, very nice experience. Yeah, but I'll tell one really brief one. I don't know how much time we have actually now, but just very briefly, this might be interesting for people to hear about her. So I came to Sahaja Yoga by attending a program that Shri Mataji gave in Cambridge, Massachusetts, just up the street from where I lived. And it's a long story about how I got there, but anyway, when I went, there were actually 3 evenings where Shri Mataji gave programs during 1 week. And she would invite people up on the stage to meet her after the programs. And the first couple of days, I felt like I wasn't sure I was supposed to go up there. I assumed these were people who knew her already. But on the 3rd night, I finally went up there. There's my train again. Sorry about that. I finally went up to meet her. And so my whole thing had been in my seeking, I was very aware that I had to get into a state of thoughtless awareness somehow, that silence in the mind was something that had to happen. But I couldn't do it. And I had tried on my own to meditate, and it was just, the mind was incessant and I couldn't get out of it. So I was very focused on that when I met Shri Mataji. She met me, she said, "How are you?" And I said, "I think too much, Shri Mataji." And she said, "What do you do?" And I told her I was a musician. She said, "Oh, musicians should never think." And she just put her hand, like we put our own hand, on our Agya chakra to clear it. She just put her hand there and kept it there for probably 2 minutes or so.
On your forehead?
On my forehead, yeah. And then she took her hand off and she said, "Better?" And there was this crystal clear silence in my mind, which I had been trying to achieve for years. And it just happened like that. And I realized, she's a very significant person who can do that. And it was a very big moment for me. So that's my little very quick story about being with her.
Well, Steve, it is amazing the technology that you and I can be together when we are very, very far away. We've always lived far away from each other. Maybe the closest was when maybe you were in Pennsylvania and I was in New Jersey, but maybe that was when I was in San Diego and you were in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But I'll tell everybody that I did have Christmas or Thanksgiving. Maybe it was Thanksgiving with you one year, or was it Christmas one year? And
Yeah.
we made chicken pot pie, homemade chicken pot pie.
I remember that.
Yeah. So that was in Chicago one year. I had that honor. So it was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
So
Nice to be together, Mark.
So if people want to stay on a bit longer, I think we can let you just have some quiet time, and we have some music we can put on and a photograph of Shri Mataji. And if you have questions, you're very welcome to raise your hand in the chat and say, "I'd like to be in a breakout room. I have a question or something I want to share." So we'll see you Thursday, and what a joy to spend some time with my brother Steve. And foot soak tomorrow and our next program Thursday. Okay, so bye for now.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.